beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. Have you guys heard what happened on Wednesday and Thursday in Senate? Oh my God! Hey, there was a lot of shouting, blowing each other. Hey, I don't know what is happening in Senate. Have you people heard? Anyway, I know that a lot of you have heard what happened in Senate on Wednesday stroke Thursday, where some senators raised the emotion that the correct oga, the right man that we have ever had, no matter that we were still young then, in the person of Professor Humphrey Nwosu, that stood, it was an INEC then during the time of Abiola, June 12th precisely, that stood firm that he did the right thing, what INEC supposed to do, and along the line, the man, according to the news, the man just buy. So a lot of senators, most of the senators raised the emotion that they have to honor him, by giving him a title, why some say no. So anyway, my beautiful people, we are going to be listening to Oshiomhole in Channels TV with Segun. What really happened? Why did Senate rejected that emotion that some people raised, that they should honor that man that did the right thing, that stood firm, and they have their own argument. Some say he did not pronounce MK Abiola as the winner of that June 12th election, while some say he was afraid because it was in tension or at gunpoint. So anyway, my beautiful people, let's just watch and listen to what, I know you guys have seen this video, but we will just go straight and listen to what Oshiomhole have to say to us in Channel TV. So let's watch together.
NLC president, the former governor of Edo State and sitting senator, Senator Adams Oshiomhole, who is live for us here in our studio. You were vehement. Good evening, Senator, and thank you for joining us tonight on the program.
Thank you very much, you, for having me.
Thank you so much indeed. You were very vehement about your debate, and you do not think that Humphrey Nwosu deserve a posthumous honor. And I've read and I've had conversation with Professor Humphrey Nwosu. He told me that it was a difficult kettle of fish dealing with the military. And you understand better because you were president of the NLC when the military was...
I was the deputy.
Deputy, yeah. When the military was...
One of the two deputies.
At that time. And you understand what it means to have a voice in the military regime. In fact, Tony Ojukwu, who is the chair of the Nigerian Human Rights, Executive Secretary of the Human Rights Commission, was one of those in the book written by Professor Humphrey Nwosu, said that there was a suit stopping the election 35 hours before the election, stopping the election. There were a lot of difficulties, as explained to me by Professor Humphrey Nwosu when he was alive. But you do not think that those were enough to immortalize him?
No, well, let me be clear. It is not to put fair on a good day to begin to discuss about someone who is not now in a position to reply or to explain himself. So, in a sense, it is with heavy heart that one wants to go into a matter like this. But tradition, they say you don't speak ill of the dead. And I think Nwosu, like every other Nigerian, his memory deserves to be respected. However, my challenge is this. We all function under the military. And I want to remind you, Shehu, that some of your colleagues in the print media, I still remember a guy called Malaulu. He was convicted for ancestors, was it a life imprisonment or death?
Yeah.
For plotting a coup with his pen. because he wrote an article which the military said was part of the accessory after the fact of a coup. So everybody bore different level of risk. But my point is that don't accept a job you cannot do. As a professor of political science, he understood the political environment was a dictatorial environment. That was a time in which, you had a decree that says if you are detained by the military for any reason, no court can inquire into it. And even this argument about going to court, the court said this, the court said that. If you look carefully to the NEC law, it says that no court can stop. They always put those provisions where the military want to do something. They say, no, we study anything in the Constitution, that is the portion that they have not suspended, or any other enactment. No court can inquire to XYZ. And you often hear judges say, my hands are tied. Of course, they also use judges when they want to. The fact that he can breach a court order and is not detained shows the limit to which this thing can happen. My concern was this. Having made people to queue and vote, knowing that we are that military environment, and the whole essence of that exercise was to transit from the military to civil rule. Now you have done everything, and in fairness, even the peaceful nature of the election, because I was old enough to vote. Some of those who were talking yesterday, I'm not sure they were old enough to vote. You had military presence everywhere. Nigerians were unanimous. Look, the worst of a civilian would be better. So however you want to vote, vote, don't fight, don't argue. I was in Kaduna, so Nigerians wanted a peaceful election, and they had one. My point is that time, somebody said to me this evening, or this afternoon, an interview that he had with one young man, I don't know who the guy is, and I'm told it's about 80 years ago, he read that interview, that, they asked him not to proceed. He went to a meeting that he was not invited to, but they allowed him because he was familiar with the villas and all that. My point is, once you were convinced, you have the evidence, you have all the result that somebody has won, or Abiola won the election. Announce it. If they are going to execute you, Nigerians will see. In any case, people were executed. People died. I don't know how many, but several people died. Whether we appreciate it or not, whether we acknowledge it or not, on a good day, we are all equal before God. I can be a senator, you can be a sweeper. We are all very, very ordinary human beings. And the law does not distinguish between one and the other. So those people who died protesting, and my pain is this, that nobody was able to say the winner of the election because it was not declared. Yet he said he knew he has all the facts for him to pronounce it. If the military were to execute him for doing the job they have given him, he would be the first person to be executed. That is not to say anybody should chase out to be executed. I myself talking to you, I said something. We also had a division within the NSC. I was seen as the one leading the so-called progressive group, while my boss, late President Bafia, was more on the just manage the situation. And I know the price we paid because of that abortion of June 12th. General Abacha enacted a decree. The only thing he didn't do was to write my name into the formal letters of the decree to prohibit me, deny me the right to contest for the office of the president of Nigeria Labour Congress. I was detained in Apapa. I was arrested by DSS from Akme Road office, taken to a hall where I slept with all the mosquitoes, no light. The following day, they took me to Awolowo Way to be interrogated by Colonel Onuka or Lieutenant Colonel Onuka or whatever, something like that. And they brought a prisoner to testify that I was plotting a coup. And I said, with who? And I told the Colonel Onuka, if you want to hug me, I'm already here. Hug me. But you don't need to lie to do so. Because who is going to charge you? Somebody must have courage to do something. The human rights groups, civil society, CLOs, and there were several civil society organizations that were protesting on the street of Lagos and in other parts of the country. without minding whether they will be shot. And some were shot. I just told you of a journalist who was jailed, not necessarily on a June 12, but for, quote, political, because he wrote an article that was not considered favorable. Tell Magazine, their editor-in-chief and their senior editor, Nome, Whiskey, etc., they are senior editors. He denied because we gave them a floor on Tessa Labour House in Ikeja. They were writing what they were writing. Tempo was there writing the military junta while they are in office. People showed courage. The point I was making yesterday is that after going through that process, which everybody described as free and fair, and then somebody says, don't do it, in clear breach of the decree that they enacted, that set up, that gave him the power to so declare. Nothing that decree says that he shall consult with the armed forces. He should have declared it. Whatever will happen, will happen.
Even with the gun to his head.
Excuse me, anybody, even now, there are levels of courage. There are a lot of people who will say, me, I don't want trouble. Me, I don't want trouble. Even other civilian regime, when I was leading strikes, nationwide strikes in Nigeria, I was arrested, dragged on the floor on the tarmac, Abuja Airport. So if you want to fight under a government, obviously under a military decree, you must be ready for whatever happened. But like we are taught as younger, when I was a much younger union leader, is that, you see, Somonu used to tell us, if you choose to lead people, you must be clear. You tell the truth when it matters. When death comes, it will come. You lie because you want to survive. When they come, you will still die. But the difference is that if you die speaking the truth, not only will you have a good place in history, but you will go to the kingdom of God. Because God is the ultimate judge. If man failed you, God ultimately, if you are a believer. So I don't think it's about... Now, let me just ask you, Shehu, what will Nwosu be remembered for? That he conducted a free and fair election, but he did not announce the winner, even though he knew the winner. Now you name INEC headquarters after him. What is the message? Each day you see Professor Nwosu house, who see INEC chairman. The INEC chairman, this guy is not here now, but I'm sure every INEC person will face levels of threat, levels of intimidation. I can just imagine that. Right? So, we've had other INEC people who conducted elections and the results were declared. The one that conducted, I think Gobadia. Then you had Professor Jega, who conducted what many people believe was, given the environment, was a relatively
good election
compared to the one done by Gobadia. These people have not been given national honors. Is it the result that Nigeria did not benefit from? We expected the energy to participate, but we didn't get the fruit. So I thought that when you want to honor people, you honor them because they carry out an exercise.
Well, I mean, I'm worried that the inference and the feeler that got out and the kind of feeling that you got from your colleagues, especially from the Southeast, is as such that, oh, because he's our man, they shut it down. Do you feel bad that is a kind of feeling, and that conversation now became ethnic in some ways?
Yeah, you see, they even put the name of somebody who is dead, a late senator who is no more, as a co-sponsor. That tells you that some people just sit down and take the thing as ethnic. But for me, as Mr. Obama would say, if people want to go low, I would rather go high. The point is that there is nothing ethnic about that election. Nobody ever accused Nwosu that he did what he did because of his place of birth. Even Babangida, he knew that the Northerners voted for Abiola against Tofa. So there was nothing ethnic about the election, and therefore nothing can be ethnic about the person who conducted the election. And I think it's because of that that one of our colleagues, the civil colleague, reminded us that we have had the opportunity, not necessarily a nice one, you know, when you have to, when people die while in service or even after service, we, by our culture, and it's even a matter of decency, that you acknowledge and celebrate them and acknowledge the things they accomplished while they were here. But nobody is able to say Professor Nwosu correct election that produced Abiola as the president because he just made that technical point of announcing. As it stands today, you know that we have had those issues in court where results are collated, but unless INEC pronounce the winner, you cannot be declared. Now let you just imagine if you were to contest election. I was to contest election. And remember, there is no slave labor in Nigeria. If you accept the responsibility, you must understand, particularly for a professor of political science, it cannot be assumed that he didn't understand that he was working under a military dictatorship.
I mean, and you don't.
So once you accept the jury,
Senator,
for example, when we organize strike, let me tell you an example. So people who are emergency activists, they will want to downplay history. When I was deputy president of Nigeria Labour Congress, I had an interview I will not forget in a hurry with, your founder, John Momo, who was hosting Tonight at 9. We gave ultimatum that we were going to go on strike, and I was leading the progressive group that we must go on strike over, I think it's about this foreign-related stuff. And the journalist asked me, John Momo asked me, tonight at 9, I said, Adams, Mr. Oshiomhole, why have you decided to declare war on the nation? I said, no, the president of Nigeria is not equivalent to the Nigerian nation. It is the nation that produced president. It's not president that produced nation. We are defending the right and the social well-being of the Nigerian people against a military government that, in our view, was insensitive and was pursuing an economic policy that would be ruinous to the majority of very ordinary Nigerians. So we must distinguish between the leader and the country. So it takes courage to say that, knowing that he doesn't even need to give instruction. The next DPO or a low military officer can pick me up and take me away. And as I'm speaking, those who know me knew that under Abacha, I was taken to, as I said, Colonel Maker, I was detained underground cell where you don't have light. They even put water inside that cell. And they bring you out once, quote, to go and eat. And it will take you some minutes before you can see. So people are paid their price. And I'm saying, if he had announced the result, well, I mean, I don't know what would have happened to him. But obviously, he will not get a kiss.
I don't know whether or not you've read the account of IBB in his book. And perhaps there are those who say Nwosu was vindicated because the ownership that IBB took about the annulment and the manner in which the election went, a lot of people felt, look, Nwosu was vindicated in that account. And again, the account of Professor Nwosu also, there are those who will say it was clear in the environment and the circumstance. Even with the IBB's account, do you feel that some sense of clarity came?
No, the point I'm making is that because he did not complete the exercise, he had all the result in. All you need to say is that, based on this number, I, Professor Nwosu, in accordance with the also of the law, hereby declare Abiola as the winner of the election. Whatever the military choose to do later, they can still overthrow Abiola as they did to previous elected governments. Or that body will be on their head. But you see that nobody was able to say the winner of the election. Sometimes, some section of the media will say the presumed winner. Others will say the widely believed as the winner. Those for me are the issues.
And that was even the contention, don't forget.
Pardon?
The contention about Abiola and how it became someone that is now was wanted. If you remember what happened right in Lagos, when he declared by himself that he won the election, he then got into trouble with the military junta.
That is the point I'm making. Now, I was one of those, because we wanted to go on strike. Some other people wanted us to negotiate, etc. So we went to meet the then now late head of state, General Abacha, and said, what is Abiola's offense? It's bad enough to have denied him the fruit of his election. But to now further put him in prison is taking the provocation too far. And General Abacha's report was simple. As far as he knows, Abiola was never declared the winner of the election. But Abiola went to somewhere in Lagos and proclaimed himself. And proclaimed himself as the winner. That for him is treason, according to Abacha. And once he has proclaimed himself as the winner and therefore president, then for him that was the limit. So he had to put him away. Then he asked me, can you now just wake up tomorrow and say you are now the president of NLC? Because that time I was the president, I was deputy president. So Adam, will you go and declare yourself president of NLC for whatever reason you have, and your president, Pascal Bafia, will just be watching? I can't be here and somebody says he's president. Who elected him? And he said, oh, Abiola has to do an apology. Apology for something that he won. But you see, this was convenient for General Abacha to say, if Nwosu had said, Professor Nwosu had declared Abiola won the election, then he would be able to, Abiola would have needed to go to say, I am the winner.
For someone like you,
declared,
who was a witness, you were a character, you were enlisted in those who are in the front line, in that struggle at the time. Do you find the admission of General Babangida and some of the apologies, perhaps, that in code that he has given in his book and on that book launch, tenable?
Well, these are issues I would rather prefer not to discuss, because at the end of the day, unfortunately, Abiola died for the very fact that Nigerians wanted him to lead them and resolved that he should lead them. Anybody who play a role in it, including General Babangida, I have said so in some other interviews, that. And even in another meeting where we went to meeting, we told him, have you organized election up to the presidency? Why would you just do the next step of declaring the winner? Or allow the next people to declare the winner, complete the story. So, well, for believers, you apologize for two things. You apologize and make amends where it is possible so to do. In this case, his apology was not enough to bring Abiola back to life. And even more painful is that Abiola died in this process. If Abiola was still alive, but merely was denied the right to govern, it would not be as painful as it is that the man died pursuing a mandate. He had to, now my pain is this, he had to proclaim himself as the winner, which Nwosu was going to do. If Abiola can have the courage, Abiola was not a militant. He was not a militant. He wasn't a professor of political science. He was basically a businessman. But he had enough courage to say, I won this election. Somebody else who has a background of political science and all that, in my opinion, my humble opinion, ought to be able to do even better than that. Now, in the end, they detained Abiola. They didn't shoot him. And the basis, as I said, is that Abacha claim, of course, everybody knows better than that, Abiola declared himself. So Nwosu had declared him, in my opinion, heaven will not fall. So what might happen at best, is that they detain him.
Actually, there was a Gubade.
And how do you now detain him? Because he has followed the law enacted by the military. And as he himself acknowledged in one interview I watched, that the military was divided. Okay, if it was divided, take advantage of the division and proclaim. But I say, I mean, let's not focus. I don't believe that when you fail to complete an assignment and sign off, you have written a beautiful letter, but it has no weight unless you sign, and you decline to sign it. And there's somebody telling me that the letter is so beautifully worded, it was so nice, choice of word, everything beautiful, but unsigned. What is the value? Now, as for Babangida's confession, I think he just, in my opinion, I'm a Catholic. The Bible tells us that whatever sin you commit, if you admit to the sin and pray for forgiveness, that maybe God might forgive you. I think it is perhaps in this sense that former President Babangida made that disclosure, you know. But it's now in the hands of God whether he accepts his apology, because Abiola is not here to say, I accept your apology. He's gone. So it's a matter of now for the ultimate judge to decide, which is God.
We're going to break
It's not for
now.
me to evaluate whether
Yeah.
If Abiola was alive, he would be better placed to say, I accept the apology. But
Senator.
Abiola is dead. Death arising from an action. He claimed life. That is the most precious. The Bible tells us that nobody has a right to take life. Abiola's life was taken. Again, in a very controversial manner.
Senator,
So I cannot speak for Abiola because I don't think anybody can speak for him. When you apologize to me, although it was not just an injury to Abiola, it was an injury to the Nigeria people. There was a lead story in Punch newspaper where I said at that time that it's unacceptable for the then president, Babangida as he then was, and Professor Nwosu's neck to fool 18 million Nigerians who queue to vote peacefully across the country. I had courage to say that. I don't have any bodyguard, I don't have any evil dog in my house, but I said that. Because I asked myself, what will happen? The worst that can happen is I'm taken away and I will not be the first person.
Senator, we are due for a break. It was Gubadia, Maurice Iwu, Jega, then we have Professor Mahmoud Yakubu. But there's a lot of lessons to be learned in all of this. The fundamental is that anything anyone is doing presently will go into history, and that's why we're talking about Professor Humphrey Nwosu. But we'll be back, everyone, because former President Olusegun Obasanjo has been assessing Nigeria's democracy. But, of course, you do know that Senator Adams Oshiomhole has strong views about our democracy, especially someone who has been a Labour leader and an APC leader in the fight. Even the present president was in exile alongside so many people. But there are those who will tell you, and I remember Taraba resort particularly had not come in. The full result had not even, the full picture had not even been known, hasn't been tabulated. So it was difficult for Humphrey Nwosu to have being able to report the result. And there were a lot of issues. But then, what is the biggest lesson?
Now,
I think that we can take away.
There's something you need to correct. In one interview somebody forwarded to me today, Professor Nwosu said he had, even though they were waiting to collate those results, he had the result. And he said it was clear that,
Abiola had won.
That Abiola had won. He said that much. So my point is, if it was clear that Abiola had won, and that he was telling the military, why don't you call Abiola and Tofa together to reconcile them, is that the work of INEC? He should have gone ahead and do the job that he has accepted. No one should take a job, like I said yesterday, when you are not ready to die for something, which is the problem of the average Nigerian. Oh, I know what trouble is. But trouble will consume you. And in avoiding small fight, you plug yourself into a more serious fight. What could have been a two-fight, it can become a basis for war because you didn't manage it well. Don't forget, one of Abiola's wife, Kudirat Abiola, a woman, she insisted that her husband won this election. They killed her.
Yeah.
But they didn't kill the idea.
Assassinated.
Yeah.
And the children were literally,
and
the lives of those children have not remained the same.
Fine. But those who killed her, do you know what their life is? So my point is that, please don't take a job that you don't have the courage to do when it matters. I have faced challenging situation. Yeah. So the lesson to be learned from this is that, please don't take a job you are not sure you have what it takes to carry it to conclusion. Because life is not a superhighway. If you take a job under a military government, you must understand the nature of the military and do the job as prescribed by a decree. The decree had not been amended. So all the going forth and back, having meeting here, all those were extra-legal meetings, not in the law. It should have proceeded. And remember, and I think Nigeria should, this is important. There was, before Humphrey Nwosu, which raised another issue of suspicion. There was Professor Emiawa, who was first appointed by President Babangida, as he then was, to head the Electoral Commission. They wanted Professor Emiawa to do certain things, and then Emiawa said, no, he can't do those things. You can take the job, but he can't do those things. And they took the job from him. He resigned. Right, so for me, that is principle. I'm not sure if he's still alive now. He was, at the point, director of studies at NIPS or something. But he will be remembered as a man who had the gut to say, no, this is the law. I'm not going to do anything outside this law. My own privileges as chairman or his responsibility as chairman, he will not mortgage them to anybody external to NEC.
Senator,
and he lost the job.
Yeah, Senator Oshiomhole, big lesson there. Perhaps like anyone who is in this government today, and one of the big lesson that I see is the lack of education and distorted fact of our history. President Bola Tinubu, if you are watching tonight, and the Minister of Education, Mr. Alausa, it is important that at every aspect of our education, from primary level to secondary to the university, history must be taught.
Absolutely.
History must be taught. It is a disservice to our nation.
The most irresponsible decision that any Nigerian government would have ever taken, to abolish teaching history. For me, no crime can be worse than that. If you don't know your history,
you don't know where
if you don't know your past, how can you imagine what your future can be? So I really don't understand. I think some people who may have played dirty role in history, use their office to, they don't want it to be documented, because even if they prevent certain narrative.
A beautiful people, we have watched this video together. What is your take, or what is your thought on this? According to what Oshiomhole has just, explained, did you really believe that because of Nwosu, Professor Humphrey Nwosu did not, announce Abiola as the winner of that election, so therefore they don't the motion that the Senate, some members of Senate rested, should be abolished because he was not announced Abiola as the winner of that election? Or what is your take on this? Anyway, for me, I strongly support Oshiomhole for this, yes, because if at all Professor Humphrey Nwosu did not announce Abiola as the winner of this election, which means he did not win the election. It's just like, remember, since this last election of 2023 election, remember, even when everything was going on, when they were trying to rig the election, to rig the scores, you remember that Dino was causing problem because he didn't want that to happen. Because when that happened, which means automatic, the person that they have announced is the winner of that election. Because if maybe INEC chairman did not announce Tinubu as the winner of that 2023 presidential election, Tinubu is not a president until INEC chairman announced him as a president. That is why you remember, even it was in the night where people are sleeping that they announced the election, 2023 election, that Tinubu is the winner of that election. That sealed it. That finished. Even when a lot of party were making problem that they would not accept, they told them to go to court, that they should go to court, So, and what Oshiomhole just said, it caught my attention, that no court can stop what INEC has already been announced. That is what he said. If you listen, he said it, which means anything that INEC, any person that INEC has said is the winner of that election, which means God cannot stop. But I don't think so, because a lot of people have taken, like, let's say, a lot of governors of a state, they have taken, INEC has announced the other person, and they will take the matter to court, and in court they will change, and the person will be the winning. Let's just talk of Imo State. Remember, before what is his name, sef, Uzodimma, before Uzodimma came into that seat, remember there was a person that won that election, and after that election they took that guy. What is the name of that guy? Oh, hey, I forgot his name. They took him to court, and automatic Uzodimma won that case, and now he is a sitting governor of Imo State. Yes, my beautiful people, you have heard from me. Oh, if Professor Nwosu did not announce Abiola as the winner of that election, so Abiola don't have any any right to announce himself that he is the winner of that election, because that is why INEC is there to tell Nigeria who won that election. Yes, so in this one I really support Adam Oshiomhole. Yes, because for them, some Igbo people raising a motion that they should name INEC office after Professor Nwosu. What did he do? An hero always remain an hero. When you want to be a hero, you have to face all the consequences that comes your way. So it's supposed, let's just take what is his name, that professor that announced OT. We all of us knows that it was a terrible problem. It was a really a fire. That woman was on tension, but that woman still stood his ground and declared Alex Oti as the winner of that election. So that is how the hero are supposed to behave. So in this matter, I support Oshiomhole. No matter, I don't know, that is my own opinion. I support Oshiomhole because I have not go into this matter this way. And if a Professor Nwosu say, oh, because I was pointed, they want to buy me, so I will not talk, then why are you people now coming out to advocate that they should name INEC office after him? For what? What did he do? He did not do anything. Because if he was like he announced Abiola as the winner of that election, even though they buy him, everybody would reason. Everybody would say this man is an hero. He stood on his ground and said, this is what happened. If it is buy, let me buy. If it is life, let me live. That is how it's supposed to be. So all this one, for me, I have never supported this APC government, but for this one, I 100% support Adam Oshiomhole. I support him. So they cannot name anywhere, and moreover, the man is now he has spied, so they cannot name a person. What did he do? He did not. Okay, Abiola spy because he came out and said, I am the winner of this election, I am the president. They took him to prison, and from there he spied. So Abiola self was even having the courage. What Abiola supposed to do is supposed to give Professor Nwosu pressure to announce the election. You're supposed to give him pressure to announce the election, not to keep quiet. So for me, Abiola buying, even Professor Nwosu has hand in it, because he did not announce him that he was the winner of that election. So why must they come down and say, okay, because you are an hero, let you we have to honor you by giving you INEC naming INEC office after your name. So my beautiful people, that is my thought. I don't know what you think on this matter. Please drop your own opinion. That is what I felt, because in this matter, the way Adam Oshiomhole has explained, if it is true, nah, just forget about it. I support the Senate very, very well. Those that say no, I support them. Anyway, if you have watched this video to this time, thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, like this video, drop your own thought in the comment section, enlighten me. I want to know more. I want to know more about this case, about this matter. You see, according to, because even when we were going to school, they did not teach us all these things, you know. They did not. That is why the way the Shegun has said that history is very, very important in school. I don't really know about this because I know that June 12th I was still in the school. I think I was in is it SS1? I think I was in SS1. Yes, you know, I know that June 12th something, you know, I was in SS1. I remember that I was in SS1 then. So anyway, my beautiful people, if you have watched this video to this time, thank you very, very much. No matter that I was living in a village, so we didn't have much opportunity, you know, to hear what has been going on in Nigeria, you know. So I didn't really know what happened, but I know that the person that's supposed to be the president by, and you know, I didn't know much. It's now that I'm trying to understand. So history in school is very, 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 very necessary, so that we will know, and by the time we start hearing this story, we will know what really happened. Anyway, my people, I've talked too much. Thank you very much. Please subscribe to this channel, like, share. Thank you very much for watching, and I will come back. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye for now.